Hello there. I am not dead. At least I don't think I am. It's not really clear. Now you might be wondering, Math, your last video was back in November. Why are you wearing glasses? Well, it turns out it's because I have very bad eyesight. Oh, green screen bucks. Yeah. Anyways, back in November I managed to take down the Skinwalker, but I've had a hectic life since then. During November and December, I was just constantly swamped with college homework. Then back in December, I got sick with the flu. 2 days before my finals, I was sick for 3 weeks straight. Now that being said, my fever only lasted until a couple days before Christmas, but I was still coughing and feeling bad for the rest of that time. In January, I made a cool decision to start live streaming everything I do when I'm developing my games. But I had a slight problem with my computer. You see, it's old, and 2 of my chargers have caught on fire, which means the battery sucks. I get about 2 hours doing nothing, maybe an hour and a half working on Unity. 30 to 45 minutes if I'm running OBS while using Unity or Blender. I cannot work in those conditions. But I was gonna try anyways. Until January 14th, 2025, when I almost died. Again. That's someone else's dashcam footage. Now, I came out relatively unharmed. I had a slight bruise right here, a scratch right here, and a bit of whiplash. But the airbags didn't go off, and that seatbelt thing where, you know, it does the when you have the brake on, that worked. But normally when you get into a crash, it's supposed to like get so tight that you have to use a knife to cut it, and you can't just push the button to pull it out because it's so tight. That didn't happen. Perfect conditions for me to die. I just survived because God decided I was gonna survive. Anyways, even though I was unharmed, I decided to take a little break from streaming so I can get my car situation sorted out and everything like that. Then, from February to April, I had a final class. I actually had 2 final projects. I had my senior project class for my senior project and my major, and then I had a video game for an Unreal Engine class, which I'm going to talk about later, and then I also had a music class that I'm also going to talk about later that had another final project. So I couldn't work on my games at all, except for the fact that I worked on my game sub, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. Now, during college, I had an Unreal Engine class, which I really needed because a combination of visual blueprints, ifs being called branches, and movement being handled by the game engine rather than the code, and also 2 objects that have the same code having to have 2 different blueprints rather than 1 script that acts on 2 different objects that can both be prefabs. It really confuzzled me. Long story short, that game had a final project, and I had to choose what to make it, so I decided to make it a 3D Mega Man X clone called Rocket Man X. This, obviously, being the name of a sprite sheet that I created for a previous semester for a roguelike that would have been created in the Sola 2D game engine that I've never actually told anyone about. Obviously. I've never told anyone about this. Not even my family. Not because it's a secret, but because they wouldn't care. The idea for the Unreal version is that it would have 8 levels with 8 bosses at the end of... not each of them, but, 8 bosses total. I finished 2. And the levels themselves aren't even that good. I was told that the water level was a bit too easy, so I made a level 2 a bit harder. I think I made it too hard. That or it's a skill issue. Now, ordinarily, I'd have just ended it here and gone back to Submechanophobia and Pool Party 8 after the semester ended. However, I had another class. My music class works on a video game each semester, and I volunteered my game for the 2 music classes. A noble sacrifice, I know. The 2 classes were the one that I was in, which was the sound effects class, and another class that is the actual music that started in the same classroom an hour and a half earlier. Part of the assignment for the class was that everyone in the class would help me make the sound effects and music for my game. So now I have a bunch of people that need me to finish the game and push it out so that they can actually put it on their resume, especially with all this AI taking people's jobs with their high-quality music.
It seems a day.
So the new plan is to finish Rocket Man X, then I can go back to my bi-monthly working on Submechanophobia and Pool Party 8. So here's what I got so far. Also, I got a desktop after I graduated, so battery life isn't an issue anymore. Also, I quit my job, so now I have more time to stream my games. Making my games, I mean. So be sure to check me out at twitch.tv/themelblock. I have this cool custom TTS system where every message gets read out loud, but if I do get some traffic, I can actually turn down the frequency. Here's what it looks like.
Hello me from 3 seconds in the future. Hello me from 4 seconds in the future.
Anyways, here's actually what I have in Rocket Man X now. Leaky Leopards level. It's a water level. Destroy the 3 generators, making the force field to reach the boss. Once you reach the boss, expect nothing, so you won't be disappointed. Magma Monkeys level. Very linear, very short. The enemies are the real problem, as Army Man can tear you up if you aren't careful and get swarmed. Did I mention that I put them in swarms? The boss is a Vegeta ripoff, voiced by myself.
Bouncing attack!
Once you beat him, it's not over. Prepare to dodge his ultimate move, because even at full health, you will die.
Let's see you dodge this one, Megan. Final